The door that should never have opened. The hallway smelled like money. Not perfume, not polish, not even the faint citrus scent of expensive cleaning chemicals, but something colder. Something quieter. The scent of wealth so deep it had replaced warmth. Lena Carter noticed it the moment she stepped onto the second floor of the Hawthorne estate. She adjusted the sleeves of her simple housekeeping uniform, trying to ignore the weight of the silence pressing against her ears. Downstairs, the mansion had been alive with voices earlier, staff giving instructions,
God,
security
what is that?
radios crackling softly,
Look.
the sharp
Is someone
clicking
there?
heels of Mrs.
We need to
Hawthorne
go
moving like
now.
a metronome of
I've been
authority.
waiting for this moment.
But up here,
As have I,
nothing.
my love.
Not even the hum
Hold
of
me
air
close.
vents.
Always.
Just quiet, the kind that made your thoughts louder. And right now, Lena's thoughts were screaming. Don't mess this up. You need this job. This is your chance to finally breathe. 3 months ago, she had been working 2 cleaning jobs and sleeping in a
The feeds
studio
show multiple
apartment with
breaches. We
flickering
need to lock
lights
it
and a
down.
heater
I'm
that
on it.
only worked
Rerouting
if you
now.
kicked it
Should we
twice.
escalate?
Yes.
Her younger brother
now.
Malik needed medical therapy after his accident. Bills had stacked like bricks around her chest. Then came the job offer.
Let's move.
Live-in housekeeper.
behind you.
Private estate.
The contact is
Triple her
waiting.
old
See
salary.
him.
Full medical benefits.
Time
It
check.
sounded
We
like
need
a
to move.
miracle.
Confirmed.
Until she
Let's
met
go.
the Hawthorne family.
The clients are waiting.
Second
Understood.
floor is private.
The latest
the head
market
maid,
data shows
Mrs.
we need
Grayson,
to
had
adapt.
said
I
earlier
agree.
that
What
morning,
are our options?
you
We could
clean only
reallocate
when
the budget.
instructed.
Good. Let's move on.
But then, 30 minutes
We have
ago,
to act
security
now.
had escorted
I
Lena
understand, but the
upstairs and
risks are
told her one
significant.
thing.
We mitigate them.
Master
It's our
bedroom.
best chance.
Deep clean. Immediately. No explanation. No warning. And now she stood outside the largest double door she had ever seen in a private home. Dark walnut. Hand-carved panels. Brass handles polished
An
so
unauthorized
bright they
transaction? I need
reflected
to
her
call
nervous
security.
expression back at her.
This can't wait.
Her
I'll
hand
handle it
hovered
now.
inches away. Something inside her chest tightened. Not fear. Not exactly. Instinct. The same instinct
The
that
anomaly
used to
is
tell
spreading.
her
Check
when
the east
fights were
sector.
about to
I'm on
break
it.
out
The
in her
patterns
old
match the
neighborhood.
previous event.
The same
Good.
instinct
Isolate
that
and trace
told
the
her which
source.
customers at her
The
old
projections
cleaning
look
job
strong.
would
I
try to
suggest we move
underpay her.
forward.
Agreed,
Something
but
is
let's
wrong.
review the risk
But
assessment
Malik
first.
needed
Sounds
therapy.
prudent.
Rent was
The
due.
anomaly is expanding.
And rich
It's
families
affecting all
didn't like
sectors.
hesitation.
Can we isolate
She
the source?
inhaled. Then pushed the door open. The room was enormous, easily the size of her entire apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked manicured gardens and a private lake reflecting gray winter sky. A king bed sat in the center like a stage,
This
covered in
urgent
white
shipment
silk
needs to
sheets
go
and
out
charcoal
first.
velvet
You
pillows
got it,
arranged
Doc.
perfectly.
On it now.
Great.
Too perfectly.
Thanks for the quick work.
Like no one
The
actually
future is
slept
now.
there.
Let's embrace
Like it
it
was for
together.
show.
With
Or
innovation and
surveillance.
passion, we will
She stepped
succeed.
inside slowly, pulling her cleaning cart behind her. The door closed behind her with a soft, final click. Lena froze. She hadn't touched it. The sound echoed inside her ribs. Then she turned. The handle didn't move when she tried it. Lock. Her pulse spiked. Hello, she called, forcing steadiness into her voice. Silence. Then, a voice. Come. Mel. Controlled. Please don't panic. Lena spun around. A man stepped out from the shadowed sitting area near the windows. Tall. Early 30s. Tailored charcoal suit. No tie. Dark eyes that looked like they noticed everything. And right now, they were studying her. Like she was an equation he hadn't solved yet. I'm sorry, he said calmly. But I needed to speak with you privately. Her brain raced. Who are you? She demanded, backing one step toward the door. He didn't move closer. That's fair, he said. My name is Adrian Hawthorne. Her stomach dropped. The Hawthorne heir. The man who owned half the logistics shipping networks on the East Coast. The man employees described as brilliant, ruthless, untouchable. And right now, he had locked her in his bedroom. I didn't know you were home, sir, she said carefully. I am, he said simply. Silence stretched. Then Lena's survival instinct snapped into focus. Sir, with respect, she said, voice steady now, locking staff in rooms isn't appropriate. A flicker of something crossed his face. Not anger. Not offense. Interest. Good, he said quietly. She blinked. Excuse me? You didn't apologize. You didn't shrink. You didn't pretend this was normal. He stepped closer, slowly, deliberately, like approaching a nervous animal. Do you know how many people who work here would have just nodded and smiled? Lena swallowed. I don't care about them, she said. I care about getting back to work. Something shifted in his expression again. Approval. But colder than kindness. You were not hired here by accident, Lena. Her stomach dropped again. You know my name. I know everything about everyone who enters my home. The room suddenly felt smaller. I grew up poor, he continued casually, walking toward the window. People assume that means I trust hard-working people automatically. He turned back toward her. They are usually wrong. Her jaw tightened. I didn't lie on my application, she said quietly. I know, he said. Silence again. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small tablet. Tapped once. And turned it toward her. Security footage. From 3 years ago. A convenience store. She froze. On the screen, a younger version of her stood between a store owner and 2 armed men. Talking. Negotiating. Keeping them calm until police arrived. Footage had gone semi-viral for a week. Then disappeared. You negotiated with armed criminals? Adrian said quietly. Untrained. Unarmed. And you saved 5 lives. Lena's throat tightened. I just talked, she said. No, he said. You controlled the room. He stepped closer. And someone like that doesn't accidentally become a housekeeper. Now her heart was pounding for a completely different reason. What do you want from me? She asked. He studied her for a long moment. Then said the words that made the entire world tilt sideways. I want to offer you a different job. Silence. Heavy. Dangerous. I don't understand, she said slowly. I run more than shipping companies, he said. I run risk evaluation teams. Negotiation teams. Crisis response teams. Her brain struggled to catch up. You locked me in here to offer me a promotion? No, he said. I locked you in here to see if you would panic. Her anger flared hot and fast. That's insane. Yes, he said calmly. But effective. Silence stretched between them again. Then, a knock at the door. 3 precise taps. Adrian pressed a hidden panel beside the bookshelf. The lock clicked open. He stepped aside. You can leave, he said. Or you can come downstairs in 1 hour and hear the full offer. She stared at him. You scared me on purpose, she said. Yes.
Oh my God,
You
what
invaded
is
my
that?
privacy.
The security feed.
Yes.
Look,
Is
You
someone
manipulated me.
we need to go.
Yes.
Now.
He didn't flinch. Didn't defend himself. Didn't soften it. And somehow, that honesty was more unsettling than excuses would have been. You're not what people think, she said quietly. No, he agreed. Neither are you. She turned, opened the door, and stepped back into the hallway. But now, her life didn't feel safe anymore. Or predictable. Or small. Because somewhere deep down, she knew. This wasn't a housekeeping job. This was the beginning of something much bigger. Something dangerous. Something powerful. And for the first time in years, Lena Carter wasn't just trying to survive. She was stepping into a world where she might finally become unstoppable. The offer that changes everything. Lena didn't go back to the staff quarters immediately. Instead, she walked past the grand staircase, past the marble fountain that whispered soft water echoes into the empty afternoon, and stepped outside into the winter garden behind the estate. Cold air hit her face. Good. She needed it. Her hands were still shaking, not from fear anymore but from something stranger. Possibility. 3 months ago, the biggest decision in her life had been choosing which overdue bill to pay first. Now, a billionaire heir had locked her in a room and offered her a job she didn't even fully understand. She sat on a stone bench beside a frozen koi pond and pressed her palms together, grounding herself. Think Lena. Not emotional. Not reactive. Smart. That's how she survived growing up. That's how she protected Malik. That's how she negotiated with 2 armed men and walked away alive. She replayed the conversation in her head. Adrian Hawthorne wasn't impulsive. Wasn't sloppy. Wasn't emotional. Everything he did had purpose. Which meant one thing. If he was offering her something, it was because he believed she was valuable. And powerful people didn't invest in people unless they expected returns. The thought should have scared her. Instead, it made her sit up straighter. Exactly 58 minutes later, Lena walked back into the mansion. Staff glanced at her. Some curious. Some dismissive. Some quietly calculating. She noticed all of it. She always had. Respect in places like this wasn't given. It was sensed. Measured. Tested. And right now she was being measured. Mrs. Grayson approached, clipboard in hand, posture rigid. You were upstairs longer than expected, she said. Lena met her gaze calmly. I was given additional instructions. Mrs. Grayson studied her face, searching for cracks. Fear. Weakness. She found none. Very well, the older woman said, stepping aside. Lena walked past her. Not fast. Not slow. Controlled. And for the first time since she started here, staff stepped out of her path without realizing they were doing it. Adrian was waiting in his private study. The room was darker than the rest of the mansion, with shelves, leather chairs, low amber lighting, screens built discreetly into the walls. He stood near the fireplace reading something on his phone. He didn't look up when she entered. 3 minutes early, he said. Good. She stayed near the door. I'm here to listen, she said. Now he looked up. And there it was again.
The feeds show
that
multiple
quiet,
breaches.
analytical interest.
I'm on it.
Like he was studying a rare phenomenon.
Yes.
Do you know
now.
what most companies get wrong about security? He asked. No, she said. They assume danger looks violent. He set the phone down. Real danger looks polite, organized, professional. He walked toward a wall screen and tapped it. Footage appeared. Office buildings, boardrooms, charity events, corporate fraud, supply chain sabotage, insurance manipulation, executive blackmail. Lena's chest tightened. This is what I actually do, he said. I stop powerful people from quietly destroying lives. He turned toward her. And I do it by understanding people. Silence. I want you on my behavioral negotiation team, he said. The words landed heavier than she expected.
Let's move.
I don't have a
you.
degree, she said.
The contact
I don't
is
care.
waiting.
I see.
I don't have corporate experience. I don't care. I'm a housekeeper. No, he said quietly. You are someone who can walk into chaos and make dangerous people feel heard long enough to make the right choice. The room went very still. He wasn't flattering her. He was stating a fact. And somehow, that felt heavier. What happens if I say no? She asked. Then you keep your job, he said simply. Your salary stays the same. Malik's therapy stays covered. Her throat tightened. You looked into my brother's medical records. Yes. You had no right. I had every right if I was going to change your life. Anger flashed through her, sharp, bright, real. You don't get to decide that, she said. Something in his expression softened. Barely.
Time check. We
I
need
know,
to move.
he said
Confirmed.
quietly.
Let's go.
Silence
The
stretched.
clients are waiting.
Then
Understood.
he added, that's why I'm asking. He handed her a folder. Inside were training schedules, travel details, salary numbers that made her vision blur. And one final page. Mission statement. Protect people who don't have power. Expose harm that hides behind money. Negotiate peace when systems fail. Her chest tightened. Because she understood something instantly. This wasn't charity. This wasn't pity. This was war, just fought with intelligence instead of violence. And he was offering her a weapon she had never been allowed to hold before. Respect, authority, influence. You'll train for 6 months, he said. Psychology, corporate law basics, negotiation tactics. And then you start field work.
The latest market data
Her
shows
heart
we need
pounded.
to adapt.
I
People
agree.
will
What are our
underestimate
options?
you,
We could
he
reallocate
added.
the budget.
They
Good.
always
Let's
have,
move on that.
she said. His eyes held hers. Good, he said. Because that will make you unstoppable. That night, Lena sat in her small staff room, staring at the contract. Malik texted her. Malik, did you eat today? Lena, yes. Did you do therapy exercises? Malik, maybe. Lena, Malik. Malik, fine, yes. Love you. Lena, love you more. She stared at the contract again. Growing up, survival meant staying invisible. Now, she was being asked to step into rooms where powerful people made decisions that shaped entire communities. She thought about the convenience store, about the terrified cashier, about how calm she had felt once she started talking to the men. She hadn't been fearless. She had just
have to act
refused to
now.
let fear
I
decide.
understand, but the
Slowly,
risks are significant.
she picked
We
up the
mitigate
pen.
them. It's our best
sighed.
chance.
And in that quiet moment, Lena Carter stopped being someone life happened to and became someone who shaped outcomes. Downstairs, Adrian watched security footage of the hallway outside his study. He watched her walk out earlier, watched her shoulders straighten, watched staff unconsciously shift around her. He didn't smile, but something close passed through his eyes, because for the first time in years, he had found someone who didn't fear power and didn't worship it. And people like that change systems. Across the mansion, whispers were already starting. The housekeeper called into private meetings, the heir watching her differently, staff noticing the shift. And in worlds built on hierarchy, that kind of change was never quiet. But Lena didn't know yet that the real trap wasn't the bedroom door. It was the world she had just stepped into. Because power protected. But power also painted targets. And somewhere, someone was already watching her rise. And waiting. The first time power tested her back. 3 weeks into training, Lena learned something no textbook had prepared her for. Power wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic speeches or boardroom shouting matches. Power was quiet rooms, carefully chosen words, and people smiling while planning to destroy someone else's life. And now, she was about to walk into her first real test. The black car stopped outside a glass corporate tower in downtown Chicago. Lena stared up at the building, her reflection faint in the polished surface. "Last chance to back out," Adrian said from beside her. She didn't look at him. "Are you backing out?" she asked. "No." "Then neither am I." A small pause. "Then, good," he said. Inside the elevator, Lena adjusted the sleeve of her tailored navy suit, her first company-issued wardrobe piece. It still felt surreal. 3 weeks ago she was cleaning floors. Now she was walking into a billion-dollar corporate dispute as part of a crisis negotiation team. Her stomach twisted. But her mind was sharp. "What's the real situation?" she asked. Adrian leaned casually against the elevator wall. "Official version?" he said. "Contract dispute." "And the real version?" "Pharmaceutical supply chain manipulation." Her chest tightened. "Meaning?" "Meaning a mid-level executive has been quietly redirecting medication shipments to private buyers." Her stomach dropped. "Life-saving medication?"
"An unauthorized transaction?
she
I need to
asked.
call security."
"Yes."
"This can't
Silence.
wait. I'll handle it
The
now."
elevator dinged. "Today," Adrian said quietly as the doors opened, "we stop it." The boardroom smelled like polished wood and expensive tension. 6 executives sat around the long table. Lawyers, assistants, security. All turned when Lena and Adrian walked in. And Lena felt it instantly. The shift. The silent judgment. Too young. Too poor-looking. Not important. Good. Let them think that. Because underestimation was her greatest advantage. The man at the head of the table stood. Gregory Walsh. CFO. Mid-50s. Perfect suit. Perfect smile. Dead eyes. "Mr. Hawthorne," he said smoothly. "And?" "Miss Carter," Adrian said simply. Gregory nodded politely, dismissively. Lena clocked it instantly. Good. He wouldn't see her coming. For the first 20 minutes, lawyers spoke. Contracts. Numbers. Liability exposure. But Lena wasn't listening to words. She was watching hands. Eyes. Breathing patterns. Gregory never looked worried. But every time medication shipment dates came up, his fingers tapped. Tiny. But consistent. And suddenly, she knew. Not proof. But instinct. The same instinct that saved 5 lives years ago. She leaned toward Adrian slightly. "Shipment logs," she whispered. Adrian didn't react. But 2 minutes later he asked for them casually. Gregory hesitated. Half a second. Then smiled. Of course. There it was. Fear. Lena spoke for the first time. Soft.
The anomaly is
polite.
spreading. Check the east
"Mr.
sector.
Walsh, can
I'm
I
on it.
ask
The patterns
something?"
match the previous
He looked
event.
surprised.
Good. Isolate and
amused.
trace the source.
Of course. She tilted her head slightly. "You've been working here how long?" 22 years, he said proudly. "That's impressive," she said. And meant it. Then. "Must be hard," she added gently, "watching a company you helped build risk criminal investigation because of one person." Silence. Total. Gregory's smile flickered. Tiny. But it cracked. "You're implying something," he said. "No," she said softly. "I'm offering you dignity." The room went colder. "You can fight this," she continued calmly. "Or you can help fix it." His jaw tightened. "You have no idea what you're talking about." She leaned forward slightly. "I think you're not a villain," she said quietly. "I think you made
The
one bad
projections look
decision
strong.
that
I
got
suggest we
bigger."
move forward.
His
Agreed,
fingers
but
stopped
let's review the
tapping.
risk assessment
Adrian
first.
watched
Sounds
silently. Because this was it. The thing you couldn't teach. The moment someone either broke or controlled the room. Gregory laughed suddenly. Forced. "You think you can walk in here and psychologically profile me?" "No," she said. "I think you're tired." And something inside Gregory cracked. Not visibly, but emotionally. Because people hiding guilt often carried exhaustion like a second skin. "I have grandchildren," he said suddenly. The lawyers shifted, confused. Lena didn't move. Didn't interrupt. Didn't judge. Just listened. "They needed surgery," he said quietly. "There were bills. Pressure. Investors." Silence. "Then it became numbers," he said. "Just numbers." Lena's voice was steady. "But those numbers were people." His eyes watered. "Barely. But enough."
The anomaly is
20
expanding.
minutes
It's
later,
affecting all sectors.
Gregory signed
Can
a
we
full
isolate the
confession
source?
statement. Agreed to cooperate with authorities. Agreed to help recover stolen shipments. And most importantly, signed documents protecting lower-level staff who had been pressured into silence. Outside the building, cold wind hit Lena's face again. Her hands shook. Not from fear. From adrenaline. "You didn't destroy him," Adrian said beside her. "You gave him a way to stop being the worst version of himself." She swallowed. I saw someone drowning, she said quietly. I just handed him something to grab. Adrian studied her. Long. Carefully. You just saved thousands of patients, he said. Her chest tightened. Because for the first time in her life, her choices had protected people she would never meet. Across the street, reporters were already gathering. Inside the building, panic was spreading. Inside financial networks, executives were already learning one name. Lena Carter. And in worlds built on silent corruption, new names meant new threats. That night, back at the estate, Lena sat on the balcony outside the staff wing. Adrian stepped out quietly. You did well, he said. She looked at the night sky. I was terrified. Good, he said. Fear means you understand the stakes. Silence. Then, they'll come after you, he said. She nodded slowly. I figured. Still want this life? She thought about Malik. About the cashier in the convenience store years ago. About the patients who would get medication now. Yes, she said. No hesitation. And Adrian realized something in that moment. He hadn't just hired someone talented. He had invited someone into his world, who might one day be stronger than him. And strangely, that didn't scare him. Gave him hope. But somewhere far away, someone watched news alerts scroll across a private monitor. And smiled. Because powerful systems didn't like disruption. And Lena Carter had just become one. The moment the trap closed, and who it really caught. The threats didn't come immediately. That was the first thing Lena learned about powerful enemies. They didn't shout. They didn't rage. They didn't send obvious warnings. They waited. They studied. They calculated. And then, they struck where it hurt the most. Started with something small. A banking alert. Lena noticed it while eating breakfast in the staff dining room. Account temporarily restricted. Pending review. Her stomach tightened. That account paid Malik's therapy bills. She called the bank. Long hold music. Polite corporate voices. Carefully vague explanations. Routine investigation. Her instinct screamed. This wasn't routine. By lunch, 3 more things happened. Her phone service dropped for 2 hours. A background verification company contacted her landlord. And Malik texted her. Some guy asked questions at therapy today. Her blood ran cold. She went straight to Adrian's office. Didn't knock. Just walked in. They're testing my weak points, she said. He looked up slowly. And for the first time, he looked angry. Not loud anger. Not explosive. Cold. Controlled. Dangerous. Sit, he said quietly. She didn't. Someone approached my brother, she said. The air in the room changed instantly. Adrian stood. Who? He asked. I don't know yet. Then we find out, he said. 2 hours later they had the answer. Victor Hale. Investment magnate. Private pharmaceutical distributor. Public philanthropist. Private monopoly builder. And recently, the biggest financial casualty of Gregory Walsh's confession. He lost $2 billion in future projections, Adrian said calmly. Lena crossed her arms.
This urgent shipment needs to go out first.
Revenge.
You got
no,
it, Doc. On
Adrian
it now.
said.
Great. Thanks for the quick work.
He wants control. He looked at her directly. You embarrass the system he profits from. Silence. Then Lena said quietly. Good. They didn't move immediately. That was another thing Lena learned. Real power didn't react emotionally. It built inevitability. For 3 days, Adrian's team gathered evidence. Shell companies. Hidden contracts. Medical supply diversion networks. And then, the final piece. Recorded conversations. Victor Hale authorizing shipment diversions. And worse, talking about acceptable casualty margins. Lena felt sick listening to it. Not angry. Not shocked. Just disappointed. Because some people truly saw human lives as math. Day 4. They invited Victor Hale to the estate. Under the pretense of settlement negotiations. He arrived smiling. Confident. Dismissive. And the moment he saw Lena sitting beside Adrian, his smile shifted. Just slightly. There it was. Recognition. Threat awareness. Good. Mr. Hawthorne, Victor said smoothly, sitting. And Miss Carter, right? Yes, she said calmly. He leaned back casually. You've been busy. I've been helping people, she said. His smile tightened.
The future is now. Let's embrace it together. With innovation and passion, we will succeed.
He turned to Adrian. You're letting her play hero, Victor said. Adrian's voice stayed calm. I'm letting her do her job. Victor laughed softly. You think exposing me will change anything? Silence. Then Lena spoke. No, she said quietly. I think it will change everything. Adrian tapped the tablet. Screens lit up. Audio recordings. Financial trails. Contract chains. Victor's confidence didn't disappear, but it cracked. You're bluffing, Victor said. No, Adrian said. We're documenting. Silence. Then Lena leaned forward slightly. You tried to scare me, she said. You tried to pressure my family. Victor's jaw tightened. You stepped into my world, he said quietly. No, she said. You stepped into mine. And then Adrian pressed one final command. Live federal investigation warrants activated. Asset freezes triggered. Media release scheduled. Victor's phone buzzed. Then buzzed again. And again. His perfect calm finally broke. You think this ends me? He said quietly. No, Lena said. I think this stops you. Security entered. Not dramatic. Not violent. Just final. Victor stood slowly. And for the first time, he looked at Lena not as staff. Not as inconvenience. But as consequence. That night, news exploded. Pharmaceutical diversion network exposed. Executives under investigation. Emergency supply restoration programs launched. Hospitals received delayed medication shipments within 48 hours. Thousands of patients were protected. Back at the estate, Lena stood on the balcony again. Same spot as weeks ago. But everything felt different. Adrian stepped beside her. You changed things, he said. We changed things, she corrected. He nodded once. Fair. You know they'll still underestimate you, he said. I know, she said. And? She smiled slightly. Let them. Weeks later, Malik completed a full therapy milestone. Staff at the estate treated Lena differently. Not out of fear. Out of respect. And across corporate networks, one quiet lesson spread. Underestimating the wrong person could cost everything. 6 months later, Lena walked into a federal ethics conference as a keynote speaker. Not as staff. Not as survivor. As authority. As proof that strength didn't come from money. Or background. Or status. It came from refusing to let power silence you. Adrian watched from the back of the room. Not interfering. Not directing. Just observing. Because she didn't belong behind him anymore. She stood beside him. Maybe one day. Ahead of him. And for the first time in his life. That didn't feel like losing control. It felt like building something better. And somewhere. In hospital rooms, homes, and communities, people lived longer. Because one woman refused to believe she was small.